Assalamu alaikum once again. I'm welcoming all of you, our listeners all over the world, to our program Dialogue with the Youth, so on Gunjur Online TV. Today is Wednesday, 28th of July, 28th of July, 2021, and the time in the United Kingdom in Leeds is about just 7 past 7 o'clock, and the Gambia probably the time will be 7 past 6 o'clock, and Eastern time maybe 7 past 1 o'clock. It's an honor after a break 1 week for Eid, to come back here today and start our issues, discussing some of the burning issues, both nationally, that means in the Gambia, and internationally, wherever we are, because Gambians, nearly 200,000 Gambians are all over the place in the diaspora. And unfortunately, they are one of the biggest contributor to Gambia, everything Gambia, but they are disenfranchised, by our own governments and our own people. We will have to discuss these things some days. But today, what we are going to discuss is the myriad of affairs that we have in that country. And to discuss these things, I have my own brother, Sulayman Ben Suwareh. Is not a stranger to us, those who are in the diaspora, since long time ago, since Janneh's era. And I don't want to praise my brother, but I have to give him the due respect that he deserves. His energy, to fight for Gambian issues, and he don't give up, and one thing I like about this man is, he give due where it should be, without bias. Only his focus is to have a Gambian and a better Gambia. He will use his own resources, the time he is online, to educate us. And a lot of people are approaching me, telling me they are learning a lot, especially the historical tour de force that he does most of the time. Because, as 1994 today, most of the young Gambians, that's where either they are very young, they didn't understand the political rigmaroles of the PPP era or before PPP era. So now the dots are being connected, and these things, even me, I don't, even though I was born in 1970s, I don't understand the complications of politics. It's only about hearsay. I wasn't reading. But it's just today, now, I am in a big institution. Anytime I listen to this brother to teach us and connect things and demystify some of the things and debunk some of the myths that we had and all those things. So it is a pleasure to have a brother Ben Suwareh. My brother, welcome to Dialogue with the Youth, so on Gunjur Online.
Thank you very much, Brother Ebrima, and thank you for the kind words. It's a pleasure coming back on this platform and to have another joyful and fruitful engagement. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On behalf of Gunjur Online, I'm saying Eid Mubarak to all of you belatedly. But we had a break. We didn't have last week. We didn't have programs because of the Eid. And so all our listeners, Eid Mubarak to you wherever you are, and all our guests, that we had, all the time in Gunjur Online. We appreciate it. Without you, Gunjur Online cannot be Gunjur Online. Brother Ben, there is a lot of issues. We will have 4 hours, but we can discuss these issues anyway. But we are going to start with the Barrow APRC, whether it is a marriage, whether it's a nuptial, whether it is whatever we can call it, which to me is a bit disappointing. But do you think, the Barrow APRC, the executive APRC, or few people in APRC, and the internal difference between APRC executive, do you think this can be or a potential catalyst for destabilization of that country? If you can give us a historical background, what is going on, what is the cabal of APRC doing, and what is Janneh thinking, and what is the so-called, sometimes they say they are not APRC, sometimes they say they are APRC, they are in the social media, thinking that they are driving things. What did they want? Did they want position? Did they want recognitions? Are they speaking on behalf of, even though they don't have any direct contact with Janneh, just to pretend? Now we are seeing people are attacking Janneh, people are attacking each other. Brother, welcome. Give us a synopsis of what is going on in this special area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. This is a very important issue to discuss. The reason we need to discuss this, it's not about the personalities involved, but the position the personalities had before, or the state of affairs right now. Because we can all see that the executive is engaging them, and the entity of the APRC was a toxic 22 years of brutal dictatorship. Now is something we should have got rid of. I mean, got rid of does not mean the people, but the system that they had, or what they represented. That should be out of the question. But what we see now is just, it's unfortunate. It's not something systematically been managed. It's all revolved again on opportunism. And this will take us back to our history. You see, in our political history, we all remember, I keep on saying, after independence, instead of we going through a proper transition in building our democracy, what we had is we went on a politic of opportunism. This is when the PPP evolved to rename themselves to be diverse or to be inclusive. But the main interest was not to empower the democracy, but it was to dominate the democracy. In war, it was to marginalize the opposition. It was to marginalize the civil society. By what? Appealing to the UP, that's the United Party, to cross carpet, to come and form government, and join them in order to benefit from the size of the cake. You see, from the onset, we put into the minds of people that come into government to benefit. Because why did I say this? The PPP could have invited UP to say that, look, we just come into independence, we have found a new democracy, and we don't have enough, within our party to run this government. Now, for the benefit of the nation and for the benefit of creating that unity of purpose, we are allocating these ministries to your party, and we are soliciting these people to come and take up these positions. You see, that would have empowered the UP. That would have kept the UP alive. That would have kept the UP vibrant. Yes, the politics is going to be competitive. But if we want to have a better Gambia, we should be ready to accept competition. We should be ready to accept people's differences. We cannot all have the same opinion. We cannot all belong to the same political party. That's why we have a multi-party. But when the PPP did that, what did they do? They technically killed off the opposition. UP went on from there to being very vibrant to completely dead. And from there on, how did we have political parties again? We had another political party that came out. I mean, the significant political party called NCP. NCP came out of PPP. And disagreements, disgruntlement, but it became a personality. It was because of Sirif Mustafa Diba. The substance, I'm not saying that Sirif didn't have substance or did not have genuine reasons, but when he break away, it became a personality. And it was his personality projected as the party and his sympathizers. That affected the NCP. The NCP was marginalized. The NCP could not be vibrant to challenge the executive or the incumbent party. What did that do? It made the PPP complacent. When you don't have competition, you are not challenged. Even athletes, to be a better athlete, you need someone to play. To compete with.
Yes,
it helps you out. You see, that lack of competition, what it created, the complacency. Now, and the idea that you go to government, you join the PPP in order to be something. Now, nobody goes to the opposition. You see, now this is what we have. It. Nobody sees the position of going to opposition unless you believe in yourself. Most people that run to politics will run to the incumbent, or even if they go to the opposition, they'll go to the opposition at the time they think that this opposition party is likely to form the next government. And people that do that, they are in for themselves. They are not there to serve the people. You see, we have to cut it short. I think that should explain to the people the historic background from independence, how we have this politics of opportunism and cross-cutting. And I can go on and tell you several instances it happened. But I'll give you, and every other political party that formed after NCP was formed along those lines until we have PDIS. I mean, we have Sirif Sise, who again has disagreement with the PPP and former party, but it could not sustain. It was not sustainable. We had Andrew Kamara, the former vice president, who formed a political party after 1982 elections. It wasn't sustainable. But in around 1983 or so, we had the PDIS, and we congratulating them for staying for 35 years.
Yes.
Because of what? They came out of an ideology. They came out from a movement. Because if you know the people that form the PDIs, they are a clique of people that have from years back belong to the same share the same ideology, same forums and so on, and they came out and built the PDIs. And that's why they sustain themselves up to now. But going on again, then we have the APRC. APRC came out of what? Came out of a coup d'etat.
Yeah.
And they become an incumbent. And they benefited from that incumbency. They abuse the incumbency. In fact, not only benefit from the incumbency fairly, they abuse the incumbency in order to stay in power in the most brutal way, in the most corrupt way. And it would perceive as they were popular. It would perceive as they were powerful. But as we said, the reality will always last. Now, if the party is not incumbent with the history of Gambian politics, that the incumbent or the politics of opportunism, the party would lose influence. Yahya Jammeh said this. The minute he lost the election, he said that he saw people who were green turning yellow. Straight away. Is it that not a fact of my theory of this political opportunism? We saw the MPs, we saw the patrons, we saw all those people gravitate towards the UDP.
UDP, yes.
At that time, obviously, because of Barrow came out of the UDP, and Hussein Dabo and the UDP were very powerful. They are technically seen as the government. But again, the minute people recognizes that there's a fracture here between Hussein Dabo and Barrow, and Barrow have the executive powers, you see the opportunities shift towards Barrow, isn't it? Because he have the jobs, he have the contracts, and he have the money. And again, that's a proof of the political opportunism.
Yes.
But you see, this affects the APRC. Now let's bring it to the APRC. This affects APRC, which affects other political parties in the Gambia. Now, the APRC now became an entity. What entity? What it was? It was everything around about Janneh. It was nothing about policies, it was nothing about nothing. Even what they call development, it was anything projected or the way it was projected by Janneh. Apart from Janneh, you cannot have an APRC party. That's the fact. And you know what Janneh did? Janneh did the worst side of dictatorship. Most dictators would leave a system. They work with a system that would be based on institutions. And those institutions would be capable of sustaining themselves, even in the absence of the dictator himself. I give an example. Egypt and Hosni Mubarak. Hosni Mubarak was deposed. But within 24 to 48 months, what happened? The army came back. And Hosni Mubarak found his freedom, his family found his freedom, and his sympathizers found their freedom. And the same army that the institution he had to use to entrench himself, that institution is vibrant now and in charge. But in the case of Yahya Jammeh, everything revolved around Yahya Jammeh. Everything was a resemblance of something. It has to be of Yahya Jammeh. Now, in the absence of Yahya Jammeh, they are completely in disarray. If you know the composition of Jammeh's government to Jammeh's executive APRC, down the line, it becomes diluted, and look at the people presently as acting as executive. Jammeh, at the beginning, APRC have one of the most experienced politicians in that country. They used to have Fode Makalo. They used to have Ike Sarr. They used to have Buba Balde. You see, these were the creme of the PPP and the NCP. And they had the government machinery for that matter. But everything else, be the civil service, be the military, everything become diluted, everything become psychophants, everything become people promoted overnight, and for him to control. He doesn't like challenges. Now, finally, he created, look at the caliber. It's no insult, but this is to tell the fact. Look at the caliber of the executive now. Rambo Jata, how can Rambo be in a political executive? Fabakar Tombong, how can Fabakar be in a political executive? Bakso, and Bakso I feel Bakso is a very honest person. I mean, whether you like what he likes or not, that's what I understand from someone like Bakso. And you have point out to me who is out there. These are all people that he managed and he want to control. How did these people came about anyway? We all remember Ebrima was appointed.
Yes.
And next minute he was overthrown. You see, it's not a serious executive. And the executive know it themselves. If you know the executive and know what they talk about among each other and against Jammeh, you will be surprised. Because some of us, we have the insight of these people. We know them. Now, what is happening here? Gambians don't know. Jammeh did whole negotiations with Barrow. Since this is official negotiations since when starting from when Yahya lost his mom. That's almost 50 years ago. They had many meetings in Guinea-Conakry. They had meetings in Equatorial Guinea and other places I might not know. Jammeh was represented by a lawyer, a Gambian lawyer, which I am not to reveal. You see, the government was represented by the SIS, the government was represented by Tangara. They did all those negotiations. But Jammeh, what Jammeh wanted, Barrow cannot give him that. And Jammeh knows that he cannot trust Barrow. Now, what Jammeh wanted, Barrow cannot give it to him. That's his freedom. Because of Jammeh's freedom, it's not resting on Barrow's powers. It's resting on the international and it's resting on Gambians. Jammeh know this. What Barrow can do, Barrow cannot do that to guarantee him this. The second thing is finance. All what Jammeh was asking for, Barrow cannot give him back that. Now the negotiation failed. They made a lot of promises. We do this after the elections, but Jammeh did not entertain that. They went to the extent of trying to use the Guinea-Bissau president, use the Guinea-Conakry president to persuade Jammeh. He refuses. That talks break away. But at the same time, Barrow was parallelly negotiating with some members, not the entire executive of the APRC. Renegade members of the APRC. And you can tell again the politics of opportunism. These people wanted something. They want to sustain the lifestyle they were accustomed to the time of Yahya Jammeh. And who will give them that? They don't have the talent, they don't have the competence to obtain, to maintain that lifestyle. They have to go and join a government again. Who is in government is Barrow. They would have joined anybody. If UDP was in government, those people will be saying something different. Everything they're saying now is not a merit to anything. They will say anything in order to go into partnership with Barrow. What does that mean? Their lives would maintain their standard of living and the privileges they're accustomed to. That's what they want. from my brother Rambo Jata, from Dudija, from all those people. That's what they're doing it for. It's not for the it's not for pedo. It's not for APRC. It's not for the interest of Gambia. It's for their own personal interest. Now, when they got into this negotiation, I mean, it started before, you know, that trip they meet in Basse.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it started before that. And that trip in Basse and everything else, Barrow was giving money, channeling money to these individuals. And and behind the scenes, they were under, this agreement going on. It never came into the surface. And Gambians could look at this. There's a proof now from the communication coming out that Janneh was never in the loop on these things. Because Janneh have not spoken to these people. The minute he realized that the same people that identify Ebrima and his team that they were trying to sell the APRC are doing the same thing, Janneh decided them to cut them off. And Janneh had a parallel executive that he was dealing with. You see, that's again show you the kind of personality Janneh is. He thinks and he believes that he owns the party. And people that support him, his grassroots believe Janneh owns the party. Everything should be about the supreme leader. Where would in a democracy you call someone a supreme leader?
No, no.
That's it. Now, your other channel you're talking about, the people from social media. I don't like talking about them to give them credit, but we have to be done to clarity. Ibu Jallow and Samsa. If you look at the background of these people and their history, why anyone would take them seriously?
Nobody.
Let me give you a brief run. Let me just give the viewers a brief run to Ibu Jallow. When Ibu Jallow left the council, he did not left because of any other disagreement. He left because of he think he was smart, something was about to go to hell. Let me get my share and get out of it and blackmail them that I know. You see, when he took the money, it was a blackmail that these people would not come out and ask for this money. Let Gambians put that in their head. He only started to reveal the money. Go and ask, let Gambians go and look for the archives. He said, when he first spoke, he said, let them not challenge him. He was going to expose them. But the minute they call off his bluff, then he had to start to talk about Koro Sise and other things.
Yes.
It was that he was trying to escape with this money. And what proved this? When whatever happened with the money, we saw the same Ibu Jallow crawl back on the floor and ask for forgiveness from Janneh. Now, why would any Gambian take this person seriously?
Nobody.
He asked for forgiveness. Not only that, he went and worked covertly with Janneh. They hacked the Freedom newspaper. Not only that, Gambians would not know this. Most Gambians would not know this. Some would do who were around. They have a website for propagate for Janneh called Progressive Gambia. Progressive Gambia.
Oh,
they have a website in those days. Now, why would he do all this for Janneh? He must have gotten money from Janneh to do this, to hack the Freedom and expose all the people interacting. You see, all the people interacting. This is not only people giving information to Freedom, interacting with Freedom in a dictatorship. This is what he did. He endangered. And some people, the journalist, Lamin Cham, I think, was one of the people arrested on that. Many people were arrested.
Yeah, many people, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell people, if you can go and look at the archive, my username was Fisto, Fisto. People that know me know that Fisto was one of my nicknames in Bakau. My address was revealed, my username was revealed. But luckily, I knew that you cannot trust any system to put your details in it.
Yeah.
The address revealed was not my resident address. But again, he did that. And obviously, the relationship gone sour or whatever it is, he was no more needed. What else? He turned up again and got an opportunity when the State House was attacked. What did he do? He turned out to be a Janneh defender. Now he has seen an opportunity to entice Janneh again to be a Janneh defender. The same person who said for many years that he was attempting to do the same thing.
Yes.
Other people did it. Now you're starting to ridicule them and everything else. Why to be on the good books of Janneh? For what? Again, for opportunism. But the minute another political party came to the scene, and the political party have a good campaign and a good marketing, and he thought this party might do it, what did he do? He jumped and he always said that I was not a member, but he was advocating for GDC like a member. Again, when it comes to the impasse, where was he? He went and allied himself with Janneh again.
Yes.
But the minute we have a new government, the same person went and joined the UDP.
UDP, yes.
Of every other day, committing himself on a UDP platform. Does that not tell you the kind of character these people are?
Yes,
definitely. I do not waste myself time on Samsal.
No, definitely.
But let me just give, that's just an example of what they were doing. And what these people did is, 2016, you see, Janneh knows when to use people and dump them. After 2016, Janneh did not see any use for these people. Janneh dumped them. They have never spoken to Janneh or have anything. And this is from Samsal himself.
Yes, I heard it.
Until over a month ago. Now, the same person, Ibu Jallow, cannot say that he spoke to Janneh since 2016. But this guy came out making people to believe that he was inside his nose. No, what they were doing is they were convincing the grassroots of the APRC, and they started to have viewing, they started to have following based on the APRC. You see, that's why he has his own platform. He used to be on Freedom, but he needed to do this project. He has to have this platform. This platform was for nothing, for advocate for nothing. It was for a project in order again to get access to the government. Again, for many other reasons. And what they did is to convince the grassroots, starting to push this false narratives, telling Yankuba Toure that you have an indemnity on all this nonsense. But next minute they turn around, they said, oh, we never said that, we encouraged him to go and testify. They turned around again to give narrative that the TRRC was not complete. I mean, everything else to attack. And obviously, the APRC grassroots took it on. And all these people have attacked Janneh before, and they turn around now, want to sanitize Janneh overnight. They went on to it, to the last minute, they started to deal now, they win the confidence of the renegade. Now they want to use the renegade to get to Barrow. But the minute Yaya Jammeh hung off that was when Samsal went to State House. And Samsal said he went to State House. I have not spoken to Jammeh from 2016. But the minute he went to State House, Jammeh sent a message to him through someone else, a courier, to say that I want to speak to you.
Yeah.
Then that's the time he spoke to Jammeh. That means that anytime they were talking about the negotiation, they never had anything to do with Jammeh.
Yes.
Now he spoke to Jammeh, and what prevailed out of there, that Jammeh was using him to know what was going on. From that day, Jammeh did not contact him again. Is he even a serious person?
No.
Does he respect himself?
No.
If you abandon me when you need me from 2016, and I went to State House, come back, but no, they need each other. They need each other. They're using each other. They're playing a game. That's why I posted that they're playing a game, but Jammeh laid an ambush and sprung the ambush at the right time. Now they are angry. That's why now the renegade of the APRC, this breakaway, I know they are only breakaway. Now you can see they are having problem with the grassroots of the APRC, because the grassroots APRC are loyal to Janneh. Now the insults are throwing between the renegades and the grassroots. They're calling them the betraying Janneh. But whatever it takes, this renegade will go and join Barrow, because Barrow is the one paying the bills. Janneh is not paying the bills. But eventually, this is the end of the APRC. Most likely, they will contest, because they still believe that they have what it takes, but they'll be so much disappointed in the elections, and that's the way they'll go away. Just as the PPP finished, because it was based on the incumbency, it was based on the policy of opportunism. Where did the PPP end up? They are what? They had two, since the democracy came, they had two Congress. Every Congress, what they come out with, they say that the whole Congress been hijacked. Hijacked for what? To take it to Barrow. Is now the PPP, as it is, probably the only genuine contender now is Honorable Tuma. Now, Oje Jalo and others have shown their hands. Everything they said and before and previously to defend the MOU, to say that this is what they stand for, no. To corruption, no, that doesn't mean anything to them. Because if anybody go and partner with Barrow, you accept the corruption, the incompetence, the betrayal, and everything else. This is where that's
true, brother. Once again, today we're going to have a serious discussions of the current affairs. And if there is anybody in the Gambia, both the diaspora on the underground, who has the grip of Gambian political environment without bias, today is Mr. Ben Suwareh. And the records are there. This is not flattering and all those things, See his records. If you follow Ben Suwareh, not today. I mean, not these last 4-5 years. Go back to last 10 years and all those things, and see his videos and audios and see the predictions, with authority. And most of these things are now, all along in our faces, and they've been proven right. So once again, an APRC is in a life machine, slowly dying, gradually and painfully dying. And but before we go to the next stage, we're going to say hi to Abdurrahman Sanya watching, Mr. Lamin Manjam, my own brother, says Salam alaikum, brother, and great topic in the show today. And Sal Cham, always following Ben Suwareh, and I like him all the time. He's a green can turn to yellow, scientifically or naturally occurring, especially. Listen, that's very true. And Ebrima Mane also say you are right. Sirfo Sanya, you are right too. And Dominic Gomez says, thank you, bro Ben. I want all of you to share this program so that we can learn, because one of the things I think Dr. Baji catch up this is the indifference, but this indifference comes when we don't have the capacity, the knowledge, and the connection historically to link things and follow them up. So if that happens, if we are bereft of capacity or knowledge of what happened yesterday, then you will not have interest. But when we start following these things progressively, then we will have the connections and we will see these things by ourselves. So now people are there giving us their free time so that we can learn from them. Mr. Suwareh, but saying that APRC is slowing dying, and they're going to die, no doubt about that. But they have been, our executives' political behavior has been sanitizing them and giving them a little bit of lifeline and arrogance that they are needed, they are the kingmakers and all those things. But saying that we have the news, getting tighter and tighter to Janneh's neck, because the right groups are demanding for his head, and now his horse, the UK, and if UK goes, EU will follow starting him and pressure him and all those things so that they can have a grip. I know they are not going to go and bomb him and all that, but they will have grip of his economy, so that economy, his, the activity, the oil and all those things can be diverted to their countries. But they are going to do it in the right way. We want to put democracy here. You have to give Yaya Jammeh order. So Yaya is in a precarious position. And why APRC is not seeing that? Because the executive that are joking to have a coalition with Barrow, they know it. That's why they are going only for their pocket. Is this a threat for us? If
Thank you very much. You see, I just want to emphasize on something before moving on. Yeah. I respect the card holders of the APRC. They are citizens. They have the right to follow and support the party they wish. My problem I have is the executive of the APRC and Yaya Jammeh. Yes. Because I expect these people to know they are the management and they are at fault. The people, the grassroots, are as every grassroots. They believe in the leadership, what they've been sold to, and that's what they're going by. That's why I said these engagements are important for us not to go and see it as a disagreement that we need to have a fight for. This should be a disagreement that we need to convince each other to influence a desired outcome, which is for the greater good. That's what politics is about. But why am I exposing this executive is what they are out for. They have no interest for the followers. The diehard of the APRC are giving their money and their time. You know how many times these people have been given this promise that Yaya Jammeh is coming, is going to come next, this, and we have to do this. Everything they know, it's a false pretext. It was false pretext. And they have no interest of the people. They have nothing to represent them, and everything's for themselves. And they know, these people know, Rambo know how wicked and bad Yaya Jammeh is. He was a victim. All these people are victims. We are collectively victims. Every government knows what Yaya Jammeh is, but they would not. But I'll tell you, once they join Barrow, and the grass would go after them, they already started going after Yaya now. All the things we've been saying now, they are saying it. And they were defending it, and they were in defense. I mean, it's good you, bring the angle of Equatorial Guinea. If you remember, I said it, and many people have said that Yaya is a hostage. It's in a hostage situation. You see, dictators, this is the problem. But it's not easy. Idi Amin got away with it, but he had to live in exile forever. But people have to understand the environment now. There was time we called the Cold War. In the Cold War, if you happen to go into certain jurisdiction, you are safe for the entire time you are there. If you mistakenly not have when you're in power, you didn't have this strategic thinking to position yourself. Because what Idi Amin did was, he used Islam and he used this Israelis and the Arab conflict to ally himself with the Arabs. That's why when he was cornered, he ran to Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia kept him safe for entirely. That's why he survived. But we have seen Bukasa and others, they all failed. We have seen many other dictators fail. They either go back, they get killed, and so on. Most of the cases, that's the same. And now, this is what happened to Janneh. You see, when Janneh realized that his government is under threat, Janneh decided to have an exit strategy. You see, Janneh decided to have an exit strategy, and that exit strategy was what? First, to make sure Gambia get out of the ICC, so that he will not be prosecuted. You see, because of the coming signature of the ICC, it was a game changer for a lot of leaders. Now, even sitting presidents can be taken to the courts. Janneh saw what was happening in Kenya, saw what was happening in Ivory Coast and other places. He took Gambia out of the ICC. The next thing is Janneh realized what happened to most of the other dictators. Hosni Mubarak and the Arab Spring. Now he have to find a safe home in case he's not going to stand back and fight, where he can go and escape. Just as when he knew that 30th December were attacking, what did Janneh do? He ran away.
He ran away, yes.
To be in a safe distance, because he has something to lose. Now, Janneh, when he thought about this, one country that he can really be safe was Equatorial Guinea, because of it's not a signatory of the ICC. And Janneh, the relationship with Equatorial Guinea, Janneh had to harvest that, have to cultivate that, because, for instance, Janneh was not even comfortable with that relationship, but that relationship was introduced to him by Zainab. So Zainab is a friend to the vice president, the son of Obiang.
Yeah, Theodore. Yeah.
Where they bought their apartment in Potoman. You remember, Janneh only spent 2 nights in that mansion. It was regularly Zainab who was using that mansion. Yes. That mansion is a neighbor. He was neighbor to the son of the Equatorial Guinea dictator. They became friends. Janneh did not even like that friendship. But he doesn't have a choice. That's how Janneh decided to start to strategize to put home in Equatorial Guinea. For the day it comes, he will, go out this thing. But Janneh had never had a historic relationship with Equatorial Guinea. Gambia never. With all the countries he has relationship.
Yeah, but Ben, you have to emphasize. You mean the resident that Janneh is in Equatorial Guinea? That belongs to him. He bought that. That is not given to
I'll
him
tell
by.
you what. I'll tell you that. I don't have the evidence, but I'm telling you by logic. Look, the Obiang family, however generous they are, they cannot be that generous to give Yaya everything that he wants. There's no relationship there. Just I told you how the relation came about. I mean, that big farm, everything out there, I believe Janneh, he planned his exit strategy. Janneh can afford that.
Yes, he can afford it. Yes.
It's not that residence. Go and check. We done our research. We can never find the ownership of that residence. It has never been owned by the Equatorial State. Let them go and find that. We are not experts, but the little we know, we do those due diligence to find out. Now that's why we are hoping the next Gambia government would do and contract the experts to go and find the properties. Yeah. One saying is here, he did that to escape. He could have gone to Guinea-Conakry. He could have gone to Mauritania. He could have gone to other countries. He have a better relationship with. No, because he thinks that it's easier to get him from there. Because Mauritania, look at it, they have change of government already. Guinea-Conakry, he thought that the man was already old. The man was going for re-election. The man could have lost elections. But this is a dictator who's not even a signature. If he had gone to Equatorial Guinea, France could easily pressure the Equatorial Guinea president to give him off. But what he did not bargain off was the long term, what can happen. And in this case, the long term was not even 10, 15 years. It's in the next within 5 years. And you appreciate that this is not even the Gambia government making effort for Janneh to be recalled. This is civil society making the effort to Janneh to be taken to trial. But it's interesting here. The civil society groups were just fortunate, lucky, to find that the Western countries already have interest on Equatorial Guinea. I'll tell you one thing. That's why I have to share this. We African, we have to be very careful. The West are not doing any favors for us. They only do things where their interests are.
Yes.
If the Equatorial Guinea was not weak at this moment, the oil price have plunged, and there is a secession, kind of a secession crisis, the Western powers would have just entrenched him and forget about it. Remember, he has been there for over 35 years. What has changed now? No. Now, the Gambians will ask ourselves, what about the other African leaders in corruption? Why are they not after them? That's an interest of the West. But yeah, we don't have a problem with that. What we have a problem with, we look after our interests. If we meet in the middle, have a mutual interest, that's how international relationship works. Now they have an interest. And the interest, they have to find a way to pursue that. Remember, United Kingdom, there's no single transaction this Obiang son have done within the United Kingdom. It was done in the European Union and France. And France have already investigated and had a verdict on him. But United Kingdom wants a piece of the pie.
Yes.
Now this is geopolitics again for the oil exploration. Yeah, oil prices are down now, but they know oil prices will come up. They want to hold on to license. And people, if you look at Equatorial Guinea, some of the BP Petroleum, some of their activities are very close to the Equatorial Guinea borders. Now, for BP Petroleum, that would be a plus. Most of their logistics are already in place. If they have an oil block, the investment is cheaper just to relocate or to probably just pipe in and do what they want to do. Now, governments, in what government do, they empower their economy by empowering the institutions and empowering the businesses within their territory.
Yes.
Now, this is an opportunity now. If they put pressure on Equatorial Guinea, Equatorial Guinea will come onto the negotiating table. And during the process of negotiation, then they will find a way to let Equatorial Guinea out of the hook. But by them having what they want is the exploration license. And one of them would be the lowest hanging fruit. That's why in the press communique, they make sure they put the lowest hanging fruit is Yaya Janneh.
Yes.
They dangle the lowest hanging fruit. Okay, part of the process, give us Yaya Janneh. Next minute, what do? Give us reforms. talk about reforms, talk about this, and it's just a resemblance. They don't mind how deep it will go. Then they can have a way of having their deal and cool with it, just as they did with Gaddafi.
With Gaddafi, yes.
Remember, before the Arab Spring, Gaddafi complied. Tony Blair traveled there. I mean, BP Petroleum had billions and billions of contracts. They were ready to look the other way. All Gaddafi needed to do was to give his nuclear program that was actually discontinued.
Yes, yes.
But they just wanted a way out. The lowest hanging fruit was the nuclear program. For them to say that, okay, we are engaging him now because of he gave in this, to satisfy the public. But the interest was to open up Libya for the oil exploration. But the minute the opposition gained ground, remember they were hesitant, but the minute the opposition determined and gained ground, what did they do? They went and backed the campaign. Big Sarkozy, Big Blair, they were all benefit from Gaddafi, but they forget about that. Now this is the national interest. Now the national interest is new. They know Gaddafi is going to go. Now let them do it quicker, swiftly, in order to benefit. If you look, I'm not sure whether I shared the document with you. When that during the when they had the rebels had a problem for fuel. Yeah. Where did the guy? What happened? They jump in there and give them a line of credit for $1 billion.
Yes.
You see, it's interesting. Now Gambia, this is where we are now. Janneh, this is why the negotiation between Janneh and Barrow could not go, because Barrow cannot solve these problems of international magnitude. And someone, Mr. Cisse wrote that article. Yeah. The article which says that if people want to test, if APRC want to test Barrow, let him come out of the ICC.
Yes.
But we know that he dare not do that. Because Gambia even quickly went back to the ICC, because these are the part of the protocols you have to sign in order to benefit from the goodwill of the international community.
Yeah, Maurice Cisse, yes.
Yeah, Maurice Cisse.
Yes.
Yeah, you see, these are important. These are the things our politicians need to discuss with the people. These are the things our commentators need to discuss about people. Yes, we can we cannot talk about Gambian affairs, talking about Dabo said this, Barrow said this, Halifa said this. We have to bring the context of the international geopolitics for people to be knowledgeable, to understand the dynamics. Then they cannot be fooled. You think if the APRC really knows these dynamics, they will understand that Janneh is toasted. This is the way to pull the carpet underneath Janneh. Then there's no aggression, there's no defense from the APRC. The APRC would either reform themselves, disassociate with Janneh, and be a proper political entity, but not to be used as a stooge of Janneh. Right now, that's what is happening.
Yes.
Everything is about Janneh, and they cannot protect Janneh. They would have realized that, look, we cannot protect Janneh.
And Ben, it's so surprising. It's revealing also, to know that Janneh has been negotiating even before they know it. They didn't know it. And even lawyers were involved, and he exhausted. He knows this is not going to be possible. I cannot go into Gambia and be safe there anymore. So, if as you said, if we created this marketplace of ideas where we discuss issues, and leave insulting each other and forget about obsession of individuals like Lawyer Dabo, Barrow by itself. Yes, Barrow, because he's the head of our country, and he is managing our tax and all those things. So we have to talk about him. But if we stop about this insultings and all those things, and that's going to bring me to the so-called tribal issues, sometimes you believe Gambia is a conundrum of, tribal issues, we're going to kill each other and all those things. But before we go there, and I will have my own brother, Abdul Manjang, he said, thank you, my teacher, and Buba Jamel say, thanks, brother Ben. Lamin Manja say, it is quite unfortunate some political leaders in Africa perpetuate themselves in power, ignoring the citizens of basic rights. Choosing a leader must meticulously, otherwise the same trend continues by failing the countries. And Ebrima says, and is also greeting and say he's watching. Jilanko Janneh says, thank you, Uncle Ben. Fatu Owen Jara says, Janneh might be used as a bargaining chip. That's what Ben is saying, is a low-hanging fruit. I like that term. And Mr. Lamin Manja said, it is important to have highlighted the interest of the Western nation in African affairs and politics purely in favor. But yes, they are fighting for their country. You cannot blame them, for going for their interests and all those things. But Brother Ben, the corruptions and dividing people, the arrogance of the leadership, the executive. But actually, looking under the surface, you will understand that there is less tribalism between ourselves. It's only the cabals, it's only the kabudus, as you always said, and the interest group that are dividing us for their particular interests. They don't care about their tribes, they don't care about this tribe and all those things. Gambia is much connected anywhere in the world. I don't see anywhere that is so connected, though interrelated, than Gambians. If you saw my surname is Janneh, but if you only take Janneh and stand it out and hang on that, you leave almost 99% of who I am. So I cannot just be tribalist if you know who I am. I cannot hate other tribes if you know who I am. But the politicians have to take this narrative so that we can keep fighting each other, this flaunting this idea that we are tribally divided. This candidate is a tribal candidate, this candidate is tribal candidate. Talk to us about the Jawaras, the Andrews Kamaras and the Perinjai, how Banjunians have flaunted him under the carpet and all those, and all this mixture, and we are seeing it. Go ahead, Mr. And let's deal with these tribal issues.
Let me just catch up to something I missed out before getting there.
Go ahead.
I give example to Gambians. Remember Charles Taylor? When Charles Taylor thought that he got away, he went to Nigeria. Do you know why Charles Taylor picked Nigeria? Charles Taylor was dating. Charles Taylor was dating the sister of the governor of the state. What's the state again? It might come to me. This is state Calabar, state of Calabar.
In Nigeria.
I think it was Donald Duke or something like that. He was dating, and Charles Taylor, all the cousin or sister was dating a very high. You see, he have a good relation in Nigeria, and Charles Taylor have investment in Nigeria. That's why Charles Taylor choose to go to Nigeria. There's no other country available to Charles Taylor apart from Nigeria. But what happened to Charles Taylor? Remember, former General Obasanjo wanted to run for a third term. He was contemplating to run for a third term. This is what brought the conflict between former General Obasanjo and his then Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Because what the system they had before was the north and the central west, or some the Yorubas and the Houses, and they used to have an alliance. It's this person run these 2 times, the other person run for the next 2 times. This is the way it was been played. Now, this one, the president wanted to run for third term. Now, the international pressure was coming on. Then, at that time, he needed to go and see Bush. And the Americans put a condition on him. If you want this audience at the Oval Office and everything else, you have to give us Charles Taylor. You have to commit Charles Taylor to the internal community. You see, he promised them, and they made all the arrangement with their intelligence. You see, the day he was going to meet Bush, that morning, the intelligence said to Charles Taylor, run, they're coming to arrest you. Charles Taylor started to leave the country, and they arrest him. Now they arrest him, saying that he was running out of the country. Why would Charles Taylor run if there was no fear? You see, that's what the intelligence did. But to justify, just to avoid to say that Nigeria betrayed him, to say that Obasanjo betrayed him. That's what they try to avoid. Now they want to blame Charles Taylor for breaking his condition of asylum. But that day, Obasanjo wanted to see Bush. You see, that's why I said, this is the situation with Janneh. Again, it's important for the grassroots to understand these things. And as they said, yes, we can talk about Barrow. We can talk about, other political parties, Dabo and others. But let's put a context in it. You see, at times I would say that I just want to come for an hour. But if I think of the context I would see a historic necessity to give a historic fact. I would see necessity to give an international dimension, comparisons for us to educate each other. There's no point agitating when we are not learning from this. That's why it's important that we divest and get into things properly. And when we are informed, then we take informed decisions. And those decisions would be right and safe. Coming back to it, as we said, this is the problem. Now, how did Jawara become a candidate? The people protectorate, people from the protectorate, these were not Mandinkas. Yes, the prominents were Mandinkas. And again, I want people to always look at the dynamics.
Yes.
If you look at the population, the population, I'll call it, the population percentage in the country at that time and now, and another factor too you have to look at, people who are more active in determining their future politically, and other people are more determined, deciding their future economically. There's other people who are more determined, deciding their future intellectually. What I said that you will find probably Fullers are not, certain trends of Fullers are not into politics.
Yes.
They are more into the trade.
Yes.
They are more into intellectual design, you see, and different things. You will find Gambian, people from the Mandinka background are more into, the politics and so on. And if you even see the Fullers that have interest in politics from time of design, you'll find their lineage to have to do something about with it. You see, our lineage is important in how. Some of the professions we choose, even we don't realize there's something that influences it. You see, and these are things, when we look at things, we have to look at those contexts. We cannot just run to conclusion because of what we have just seen in our presence. At that time, there were people that comes from the white, again, the colonial legacy. They divided us. The colony and the province. That the protectorate. They divide, just as in Senegal, they have Rufisque, they have Gogore, they have Saint Louis, and they control that as the union, and they have the rest of Senegal as the province. You see, white people do that, and when they colonize us too, they differentiate us. They bring our differences under the microscope for us to identify ourselves more onto that, rather than other things that we have in common. Instead of to identify us as Muslims, which majority Gambians were, no, what they will do, let's do them in tribe. That's the time we can divide them further down. If we do them in religion, then it would be just a minority, small minority of Christians, and over this thing, they can unite and progress. Now, let's divide them furthermore. That is already in our mindset. Now, in this division, what they did was the colonists have a kind of advantage because they have direct rule, they have direct influence. The interior have indirect rule. They rule them through Sefolu and Alkalu, and local traditional ruling. But in here, they have governors and other administrative, and Western education was, empowered and so on. If you look at the other set of this, the other schools you first have was Nikil Kunda, and you have Armitage. And having Armitage and Nikil Kunda, have you seen most of the people that came out of there were people from where? From the province.
Yes, yeah.
And if you realize, you see, even the Wolofs that went to Armitage from the province, when they came to Banjul, they have problem with the Wolofs from Banjul.
Yes.
That's why Fafambai have always been rival to the Wolofs in Banjul. He was more of a rival to the Wolof in Banjul than any other tribe in Banjul.
Yes.
You see, then when we start to understand all these dynamics, then we can get the facts. That's why it's important to teach our history for people to know. We cannot just jump onto sentiments. Now, this is by default. Now, within the colonies, they used to have elections. Elections used to happen. They used to have representation. People, they have political parties. But in the protectorate, they never have elections. And what did I tell you? They treat the people in the rural areas in the protectorate as less Gambians or less important, that they're not sophisticated. They cannot determine their own leaders. They cannot take part in this. But people in the colonies, which means Banjul and Kombo Saint Cape St. Mary, up to, I think, Gunjur, that's where it stopped. Anything else is called uncivilized. That doesn't need that to have that representation. Up to the time that we need to go to elections. But because most people migrated from rural communities to come to Banjul and the Kombo St. Mary's in order for greener pastures. And most of these people, again, we have to understand the education level. Most of them were not educated. The few that were educated were the ones that had opportunity to go to Hermitage from the rural communities. The others within the protectorate are people that have to go to schools in Banjul. Now, even that, there's a rivalry. That you can see the Jawara. If you look at Jawara, because Jawara did not do his secondary school in the Jawara and Lawyer Dabo, even they don't do their secondary school in the province. They did it in the Congo. You can see there's a difference of dynamics. The Jawara dynamics, you can see he was not brought up. He didn't do his secondary school in the protectorate. He did it in the colony. And you can see his outlook was completely kind of different from the rest of the people who are from the protectorate and did their school in there. Now, during this time, you have a group of people who came from the province, living in Banjul and work in Banjul. Most of them were laborers. They needed to look after their own welfare. And credit are not given to these people. These people look after they have an association to benefit each other. For when they are sick, they can support each other. For when they have a debt, they can repatriate the body. Just as we have in the diaspora. But again, go and look at, if you want to understand it, go and look who hosted them. Who hosted them? It was Wolof, Akus, and the engineers and other people in Banjul.
Yes.
Who hosted Lawyer Dabo? Was a Wolof.
Yes, Pear, yes.
Who hosted Jawara? Was a Fula.
Yes.
Where's the tribalist?
No. It's not fair.
But when it's time to form a political party, we should give credit to Sanjali Bojang and others. Mm-hmm. We call these people not educated, but they are far better than us. Do you know why? Mm-hmm. They have this, and they jump on. They decided to say that, look, our association now, which is a movement, we are going to form a political party in order to determine. And the most active part of those people, majority, were Mandinkas. Remember what I said about our disposition? About our
disposition, yes. Mm-hmm.
Because of our backgrounds. If you look at the Baldes, most of the people, Fullers that were the Baldes. Who are the Baldes? You can see traces from Musa Molo.
Yes.
Remember, we came from a tradition that every kind of this didn't have a trade. Some people were goldsmiths, and even Jawara. They did not go to Jawara for leadership. They went to Dr. Marina. Mm-hmm. They wanted someone educated to lead them. You see? And when they went to Marina, said to them, look, I don't have interest in politics. I'm not a politician. But I know of Dawdi Jawara who was a student union leader, both in Ghana and in Scotland. I think you can approach him. But within themselves, they did not want to approach Jawara. Because some of them thought he was from an Ude.
The Faraba, those who, yes, you know.
But
yes,
they didn't have a choice.
Yes.
They had to go to Jawara. Now, every decision taken, was taken, they look for someone that they can relate to. We all will move to someone we can relate to. And this become either Dr. Marina or Jawara. None of those two are tribalists. Now, these people too, if you go and find out the Sanjali Bojang family, how interconnected they are. And in everything. Now they formed the PPP. But the PPP was the People Protectorate Party. Yes, the name came out of whom they were. They are people from the Protectorate, but they did not call themselves the Protectorate. It was the white people that called them Protectorate. Now, let's come to the UP. The UP came out from other parties because already the colony already have experience in politics. They used to have, elections to come to elect their councillors and so on, local representative. Now, when it was time to go for independence, so for multi-party democracy, the Njai family stand out. What you call him again? Per Njai.
Per Njai, yes.
Per Njai stand out because of his, caliber of education. Lawyer, and he had interest in leadership. And obviously he was at that time, and even now, for his achievement, from an elitist background. He sounds elitist, and at times he might sound snobbery. Especially, depends how you read what he says or read into it. But into politics too, his rivals have to put it in that way to undermine him.
Yes.
But if you look at the UP itself, yes, because of his background of leadership and where it was from, it have that identity. Now people will identify the leaders as, we remember again, colony, we are identified now as our tribes. The leaders as the political, Jawara is a Mandinka, then PPP would be Mandinka. UP is Per is, but go and ask who were the MPs. Usainu Dawa's father was part of the UP.
Yes.
Was he not Mandinka?
No.
And others were the UP. Do you know, most of the PPP guys were UP. MC Cham, I think, was UP. Asan Musa Koma was UP. MC Jallo was UP. No, most of them cross-carpeted.
Yeah, Mohamed Musa Njai was UP, and all the Sefolu, the prominent Sefolu, Jundu Ture of Gunjur was UP before, all players UP and all, so people don't know that they think, Per Njai was supported by all of. In fact, he has more support within Mandinkas, because I know Gunjur was seriously divided between PPP and UP, and our fathers and grandfathers were fighting, some for Per Njai, some for, and the support that Per had in Gunjur, I don't think he had that in Banjul that time. And because I am aware of but I'll give you a moment to come and just say hello to Sohana Sonko, my own wife, and greetings to brother Idrissa Janneh, who is and Bake Jawla also. Thank you, sir. I am learning a lot from bro Ben and Noah Sise. My professor said, "Good evening, Mr. Janneh and Mr. Suwareh. Keep it up, mate." In Nubian going said, "Hello, brother Sulayman Ben Suwareh and brother Ebrima Janneh. Greetings to you, my sister." And Idrissa is struggling with his, and Idrissa Ben, is in our area. He's fine. I think the shaking is coming from your area. Please share the program so that we can learn from this fantastical historical connection. And because these things don't stand in the vacuum, they are all connected, unless we don't know. So if we don't know, let's find them out so that some of the myths, some of the divisions that are cascading in our country, where families are divided just because their surname is this and their surname is this. Some Jannes, for example, are Mandinka, some Jannes are Fulani, Jannes are Saragules, some Jannes are, so it's all over the place. And why are you just standing out somebody's surname and define him completely, so that you're going to miss a lot? So this the tribalisms and the so-called tribalism perpetuated in our communities are false. Ben, before I give you the go-ahead to go, the constitutional talk that were done in 1964, we have the Dawda Jawara, we have the Sirif Mustafa Diba, the Paul El Balde, Sirif Sekuba Sise, Aman Kanyi, the Per Saranjai, Sefo Umar Mbake, Aliou Badara Njie, Kalilu Singati, Famara Wasa Toure, IAS Buran John, and Keba W. Foon, and Gaba Jahumba, and JC Faiz, and all those. These are, rainbow of tribes that are there. These are not Mandinkas, these are not Wolof, these are Gambians.
And if you take into factor in the population, composition,
yes,
it was balanced.
Exactly. Very, very balanced.
And you have to find that these people, it's their competence and their participation.
Yes.
It's not only that they have knowledge. Some of them, they didn't have further education, but it's the active participation they have in this. They were nominated, they were elected, or they represented something. And they did it successfully. Now, if you look at all this, you can start to understand that most of it will come out from opportunism. You see, that again, when it went out, who are the people that betrayed you, Penyai? They were non-Mandinkas.
Yeah, they were non-Mandinkas.
And went and joined Jawara. When they went and joined Jawara, they didn't join Jawara because of anything else.
No.
Because that time you have to be an MP, and if you are MP, you can be a minister. And most of these people, when they left the UP and went to PPP, what it created? Now the PPP, in fact, had a problem. Because some of the PPP see themselves as now they're taking the UP, giving them prominence on them. That's how the fracture came in. People like Sirif Sise left and form a party. It didn't sustain. Sirif, how to call it, Diba, left. You see, but these were personalities, and they left because of this thought that their party has been hijacked by the UP. But people, because we don't have the education of this, we don't know. Now, what we see is what people would make allegations that will be out. Now, if I am in defense, I had to make an allegation. Yeah, I am not going to say I'm not competent, that's why I was sacked or I was overlooked. I'll say because of the grace card or something like that, and it started. You see, then it started to be things about people accusing each other. But you see, if we have a strong suspicion of something or allegations or something and needed to be addressed, and the best way to address that is education. If we forget about it and leave it like that, it happens. But because every other group started to happen, and we understand when it started, the Aku people were this most educated class. Tribe. Because administration, the English language, and everything else. There was a time at the beginning, most of the Malayan directors or the chair people were Aku, and they were a minority, but nobody had a problem with that because it was based on their competence. But you know, when you have people started to fight for small, because the government was the only industry. Remember that. Now you have to have more educated people coming, and now to try to get into government, and these little parastatals we have, competition hitting up. Now people started to make allegations, and Jawara have to be a statement to try to balance this thing constantly. And people understand within Banyan itself. Some Wolofs would blame other Wolofs being prioritized over other Wolofs. Just as Mandinkas. Some Mandinkas who say Kombonkas are being over prioritized listen, you go. In some cases, you hear the Badamunkas will say that the Kiankas are over prioritized.
Yes.
We had those allegations when Bibi was in government. We had those allegations when Sheriff Dibo was in government.
Yes.
You see, Mandinkas going after each other. Why did they go after each other? It's resources. It's resources. Now, if you go back again, our relationships, for one, there's nobody or any party or government that can come with a law that will discriminate the rest. We know that. If we cannot have the law to discriminate the rest, now how can you enact tribalism? Now, every Gambian have an extended family into almost every other tribe and religion.
Yes.
A few days ago, I saw a picture of your brother and your sister.
Yes.
I didn't know she was your sister. And I said to you, is that your sister? Said, I said, but that's my wife's cousin.
Definitely.
You see?
Definitely.
You see, now, if I am, let's say now I'm a Fuller. People know me as a Fuller. But people don't even know that my real surname is not Suwareh, it's Diallo. But I cannot take Suwareh off me. My grandmother is Suwareh. My mother is Suwareh.
Yes.
And most people, when they hear the Suwareh, they say Jahanka.
Yes.
Can I take Jahanka off me? No. Yeah. But again, I have uncles who are Jolas.
Yes.
I have uncles who are Jalonkas.
Yes.
That's my history. But culturally, I might be even well off.
Yes, definitely.
That's what I speak in my house.
Yes, definitely.
Where you see, we have to understand these dynamics. How can I be one thing? We cannot be one thing. People can identify us how they wish to. But what we are Gambians and what we do. But in politics, this is where politics become nasty. Because all these things emanated from politics. All these things emanated from trying to get leadership or a position. If you go to certain villages, when you find this argument, it's because of about Alcalo or about Sefo. But when you go to the well, they have harmony at the well. That well is dug by the entire village. When you go to the market, they share the same market. When they have naming ceremony, we share the naming ceremony. When they have a burial, they say. When they choose when they say that there's someone teaching the Quran, where do they go to? The person who teaches the Quran. Do they ask for his tribe?
No.
No. When there's a doctor, do they look for the tribe?
No way.
They go to the doctor. What they care about, is it competent? Can he treat me? See, all these things are not fact. But the fact though is, in our politics, we are using tribe, which is wrong. Yes, tribe will be present in our politics. We cannot disassociate tribe in our politics.
Yes.
But we should sanitize that and make sure our politics should not be about tribe. Because we are people of tribes. It will linger with us because we came from a closed society. As we go into open society and enlighten, that's how we identify ourselves and to be more aware and be sophisticated enough to deal with issues, not to deal with the identity. But unfortunately, the problem in the Gambia is our education system. The curriculum, as I said, most of the things we talk about is not in our curriculum. When you read our history, it's about the Ghana Empire. Even it's a distorted fact of the Ghana Empire, distorted fact of the end. Thing. Most of the other history are oral history, which have not been documented right. Even you see, if I want to talk about the Fullers and the Carbunkas, I give it a fuller narrative. The Carbunka would give it a Carbunka narrative. Everybody wants to be a hero. But one thing we find between the Fullers and the Carbunkas, we settle our difference. And we have a covenant now that we can have Sanakuya. We can take the piece of each other. I can never be angry against a Carbunka. Carbunka can come to my house and say anything. Why did our ancestors find this thing important? Because we don't need to fight among each other.
Definitely.
I have the same relationship with the Jolas. I have it with the Serers and have it with others. And we see, even in our regions, the Kabunkas have it with the Badubunkas. The Jarankas have it with the Nyominkas. You see, every other thing. We should take this thing as a strength. But do we focus on that? No. What do we focus on is the politics. And I blame politicians for this.
Yes. Yes.
I blame politicians for it. You see, I'll give you an example. When PDOIS came out, they were smeared as communists. They don't believe in God. They don't pray. They don't do this. They don't do this. Not recently, 2 years ago, a cousin of mine, a very educated woman, had to, feel guilty. And he said to me, in fact, if I meet Khalifa, I'm going to apologize. Do you know what happened? He was in the Gambia. They went to a ceremony, a burial or something like that. And sitting there, she was looking if Khalifa was going to pray. He believed. She believed what was being said. in the PPP days. And this is an educated woman in those days.
Yes.
He believed that Khalifa is not, would not pray. About 2 to 3 years ago, not very recent, he still had that thing in him. You see, but if we don't engage into serious discussions and keep it apart, that's why we bring this tribe context. I mean, look at Yaya Jammeh. Who brought up Yaya Jammeh?
Definitely. Different tribes, yes.
Different tribes. And you'll be surprised, in fact, how many other tribes he's related to. How can we claim Yaya Jammeh to be a Jola? He is a Gambian.
Yeah. Definitely.
We should judge him for what he does. We cannot judge that on Jolas.
No,
definitely. How can you look at Adama Barrow and judge him for anything else? But Adama Barrow would come out and want to play it.
Yes, definitely.
Politicians want to play it. But that's not what qualifies someone to be a good leader. We have good and bad people in anything. And nobody is defined. There's no unique moral qualities of a Mandinka or Fula Jola, Sarawule, Manjago or anything. It's a human, these values are human values. It's not a white man value, it's not a black man. Black people say, no, you know our values. What values? They are human values. White people will stand to say, if people come to our country, you should respect our values. What values? Everybody should respect human values.
Yes.
You see, if you have your faith, that's your faith. How many Muslims have different faiths? And they all condemn some Muslims.
Definitely.
But the same Muslims will condemn other Muslims for the faith they have. If you condemn people that you said you share the same faith, what about the people you don't share faith? That's what called tolerance. We should have the tolerance. But the tribalism we talk about is not a Gambian thing. The tribalism is a political thing.
It is a political thing. Once again, thank you so much, Brother Ben. And we have to appreciate that we are tribal, people, but we are Gambians and nothing else. We are Gambian and Gambian first. When you come to England, if they are abusing you racially, they say go back to Africa. They don't even mention Gambia. If they know you're from Gambia, whether you are Wolof, whether you are Mandinka, whatever, they call you, go back to Africa and all those things. So a lot of us are complaining about racism and how they treat us here. But when we go to Gambia, we put our tribal hearts there and think, I'm better than this. I'm better than this tribe. I'm doing this and all those things. And we allow people who we are better to mix us, tribally. But when we want to marry, we marry, no problem. We bury together, we Christian together, we go to mosque together, we enjoy Christmas together, we enjoy Eid together and all those things. How can somebody that you empower to be your CEO of your country, to manage your affairs for you, to come and tell you have to divide from your neighbors because he is this tribe and Mr. X and Mr. Y are this tribe and all those things. You sit amicably with people for hundreds and hundreds of years, and today they say they didn't like you. That's why they are calling you a stranger or whatever. But before I come to you, I'm going to come to Madam Fat Owen Jara. She said we should not be distracted. It's all about divide and conquer. We need to talk about policies and how to create opportunity for young women, men, and young men to create an environment where resources are used efficiently, where leadership is disciplined to serve one's country with dedication. Our Ture Kinje said, good evening, gentlemen. And Mariam Abojan said, greetings to all of you. Fantastic response, and thanks to our leaders, thanks our viewers all over the place. Let's share the program, the show, so that we can learn from this and critically think. Let us not jump with our emotions and generalize things, because anytime you say Fullers, you are wrong. Anytime you say Mandinkas, you are wrong. You have good and bad in any human life. And sometimes, we just fall for these things and allow people who are nobody, who we empower to be who they are, to come and divide us to the extent that we are going to kill each other, we're going to fight each other, we're going to put our country into flame. And at the end of the day, we have to come back to the negotiating table, and be one again, because that's the only way out for you. None of us can go. Brother Ben, go ahead. And after that, we are going to
I want to put this emphasis, and we look at this international. You see, this is not a Gambian problem. This is an African problem. And you see, from slavery, if we can trace this from slavery, you know, when they get slaves from different points, look at it, Ghana, go to Tanzania, go to anywhere there's a slave port, go to Senegal, go to Ghana. What do they have? They bring slaves from different areas and put them together. Do you know, before they put them on voyages, they make sure they're divided?
Yes.
So that they can never unite to fight back.
Yes.
Even when they take them to disembark, different states, they make sure they will never be together. You see, this affected the African side. Do you know even our color, the light skin and the black skin, even that plays in our psyche. Yes. Be any African country, even Indian countries, sub-Indian continent, they use this on us. If you look at the genocide in Rwanda, you can go and see the evidence of what anthropologists did and colonists did. Everywhere you go, it's fun. And look at the colonization. And let me give you, and this thing continue, because we never had a good transition in any African country. It's just better off than each other. Because what we do, we just go and borrow other people's systems and want to hold it like that. We never perfect our own systems. When I hear people talk about constitution, they don't know the Manding had a constitution before most of the countries they quote. They don't know the Fullers have constitution before most of. You see, how do they think that these people had empires? They thought that they just run them by brutality. They don't know that there was intellectuality involved.
Yes.
But no, we go and borrow everything and never look at ourselves, our cultures, and how we. But give you this example now, a recent trend. Look at what is happening in Ivory Coast. Laurent Gbagbo and Alassane Ouattara.
Ouattara, yes.
These two traded tribe differences. To the extent, no, I'm getting emotional to think of this. How many thousands of people died? These people continue from Ivory Coast had their independence, and they had this one-party state, Efebouani, the French interest, Petit Paris, and all those things, and said this. I know it was all false promises. Yes, some enclaves in Ivory Coast were like Paris, but and cosmopolitan and everything. But the entirety of Ivory Coast was poor. Resources were taken to the French. Everything was for the French. Until he lost power, he was ill, weak. They started to have succession problems. This Ouattara himself have been a prime minister before, and they had. But where did it come from? They come on tribe and identity. Up to the extent Ouattara was denied a candidature because of his La Avarete, the system of pure Ivorian. He was not qualified. By who? This Laurent Gbagbo. And this is a professor of history. You see, our landed people would be the people doing these things. Now, the northern part, which is predominantly Muslims, and they have their origin from Burkina Faso, decided to fight a rebellion. And who led the rebellion? A couple Soros. A soldier led the rebellion and fought and demarcated the north. You see, and they had a buffer zone. The French came into the fight. They supported Ouattara because Ouattara was their candidate. Mm-hmm. When they went to elections, obviously, Ouattara was declared the victor, but there was a disagreement. But that was after the ceasefire. The Northerners broke the ceasefire by attacking the South. in the support of the French giving them support, fire support. They conquered, they killed each other. They conquered the Southerners, and they formed a government. What happened today? The same Ouattara who championed democracy and human rights decided to change the constitution in order to stay on power. He is ill, he is old. Who did Ouattara fight first? Soros.
Yes.
The person who put his life to fight to make sure he's president. He denied him because that person stood the chance of succeeding him. He didn't want to succeed. Do you know why? Because the French don't want him. He was sent into exile and he was charged for whatever it is and sent outside. Now, Laurent Gbagbo, who he fought and killed each other based on tribe and identity, now they're coming together because of what happened. Laurent Gbagbo is broke, he have lost power, he's desperate. Now he too, he disregard what he stood for or said before, he disregard that. It's all about themselves. He want to regain power. He cannot regain power without going into with the devil. Now he will disregard his people's opinion and everything else. And they will use this to say reconciliation. This is not reconciliation. It's this is further than our slavery. Because it's again to serve the French interests.
Yes.
Nothing to do with Ivory Coast interests. After killing each other. Now, he will going to have a good retirement. His family will be taken care of and everything else. And he will forget about what he stood for.
The ordinary people. Oh.
Now, another hustle will continue. I give you another case. In Kenya, it was a tribal politics.
Yes.
They nearly went into war. How many thousands of people were killed after the elections?
Thousands, you know.
What happened? Now the president gets what? He had a problem with his vice president. Now he's going with the opposition that he had the Odinka, whatever, that he had a tribal problem with, or whatever and now they're going into bed in order to stop the vice president succeeding him. Now he either want to run for another term, or he wants someone else from his tribe or his family to run for another term. You see, let me even tell Gambians this. You see, even Senegal, something most Gambians don't know. Senghor was not to be the first prime minister. It was Moussa Dia. What happened? That Dia would have led Senegal into independence. But the French again prefer a minority from a Christian background. Because remember the Senegalese history.
Yes.
Of the Muridias, the other Islamics, the struggle they had with them.
Yes.
Now, in order for them to maintain control and balance, they have to pick in and put their interests. And I cannot remember the clarity of it, but technically it was called a coup d'etat for Senghor to succeed the government. You see, and this too was part of the French interests, and that would continue. But Senegal was lucky. Senegal was lucky. They managed to have a transition, and they hold onto the transition. In a sense, the civil society groups and the religious groups help. You see, in a country, it's not only a government that builds a country. Our problem, the mistakes happen, PPP marginalize our civil society instead of empowering them. Senegal, you see the Muridians. That's why you can see a Mandinka who is a pure Murid. When he's in his Muridian this thing, he's not even a Gambian. He is Muridia at that moment. His identity is Muridia. It's not about Senegal, Murid. It's Muridia. He's in the movement. You see a Futanka from Futa, if he's a Murid, he's a Muridia. You see, the Tijaniya and so on. That's why they're able to build their own version of faith. Be it Muridia, be it even the Tijaniya, which came from the north. Senegal have their own brand of Tijaniya. That's why you have the CC family, very prominent throughout the world. You go to the Nyesen family, you go to Nigeria, you have more Nyesen in Nigeria than in Senegal itself. You see, that's how powerful it becomes. Because if you leave civil society to be vibrant, they become part of the social capitals. And if you have a rich social capital, what it does, it gives people confidence. It takes out inferiority complex. It makes people to know their worth. And if citizens know their worth, they are valuable. And people are valuable, they want to keep that country intact. But we inherited a system and we continue on the system of dividing each other and marginalizing. Look at 2016 when we came in. Civil society became a dirty word. Civil society, they want to undermine. Civil society, they want to undermine. They have an agenda. Everybody have an agenda.
Yes.
But once the agenda is not subversive, it's not against the state. My agenda is for probably gender empowerment, priority. For youth. That's how we come onto the table. We all bring our agendas to the table. But you want to recognize your agenda? You don't want to have tolerance for other people's agenda? Development will come into different, have to be bringing those differences and build something out of it. Then again, if we look at our failure on tribe and everything, we'll come back to failure of leadership. Our leaders have to be sophisticated. But again, if I say our leaders, I am not pointing to our politicians alone. I am pointing to Gambians who have what it takes to be leaders. Let them get out of their comfort zone and be part of the discourse, be part of the engagement. There's nothing more important, worthy than to be part of rebuilding your country or build your country.
Thank you, Bill. We are coming to that leadership thing. That's going to be our next topic, and how leaders are using their failures, to flare, to fund division between ourselves. But most of the examples that you cited, there is a big moral lessons there. That is, these people, the leaders that divide us and conquer us if we want. When their interests, fluctuate from one thing to the other, they will come together and they will be friends. They will be bedfellows. They forget about the ordinary people whom they use, who slaughtered each other on their behalf, on their false notion of divide and rule. And that happens in Africa. We're going to discuss it, but you brought it, the Kagbo, the Watara thing, the Janneh and the Barrows and all those things. So when we allow these people to divide us, the moral lesson is when their interests fluctuate from one thing to the other, they will just abandon us. And the ordinary people will die. We will hate each other.
Tell you that they don't believe in the tribe they sell you because of this their interest.
It is just their interest. Look at Yaya Jammeh. Ben, I heard you saying when he is attacking Mandinkas, but he will turn the camera to the Mandinkas that are behind him and say, but these other Mandinkas are good Mandinkas, but these other, but he generalized all of them. So these people are playing with our minds. But, we have to blame ourselves. We fall for these things. And Pa Aliou Salah says, you are very right. There are, Mr. Ben, we borrow all from others instead of looking within ourselves. And Maria Majuara said, in interesting conversation, Ben, I think, Pa Aliou's, I think, one day we are going to talk about the Murid, how they brand themselves. And that is typical African brand. And if we are not doing a case study to how the Murid, they are
the most progressive. Exactly. I have a passion of these people.
We are going to
the most progressive Africans.
Yeah, because they have their universities now. They're making money. They are attracting people. Money is coming all over the place, and they are so powerful. They are just like a Vatican in Rome. And how they manage this, we are not even saying. But we have to be proud of them, But some people who say these are not Muslims, forget about them, and all those things. We are following Sunnis, we are following, Wahhabis here and there, all over the place. When the Murids are doing the fantastically successful institution that they are built, that's so influential, and that is brand Africa. So we are going to talk about that. But Brother Ben, we have this. The United States State of Department, kind of, buttressing what people like you are saying, about corruptions in the Gambia. They say in the latest investment climate statement published yesterday, the United States, the U.S. State of Department says, since President Barrow took office in 2017, the government has turned a blind eye to corruption, and no one has been convicted of corruption. Low level of corruption is prevalent, and high level of corruption is likely common but remains underreported. Companies importing goods through Banjul Port regularly being solicited for bribes and all those things. And you can go on, Brother Ben, you said this, and you know, the siphoning of money from Gambia to Senegal to Singapore accounts and all over the place is just like people who have lost like kids, you know, pushing and pulling for Gambian Resources Bureau. Maybe they are thinking Barrow will not going to be there in next one in come December. They're just taking this money and just money is going all over the place to personal issues and all those things. This is what in the US, in the United States, the State of Department report came and criticized the Gambia. These are not allegations. There's corruptions and corruptions and corruptions in that country, and nobody seems to care. The indifference, and I will refer to Dr. Ismail said, we are a nation of indifference. People are corrupting our places. Hospitals are bad. The coronavirus, you mentioned that, and I think we will briefly take that. The rampant of the new variant that is killing our people in droves, in large numbers. There's nothing in the hospitals. There's no glove. There's no needle. Yesterday, a grandfather of mine died. His water just went out, and there's no pin, a pin that is stick to that water to get it to his body. You have to go and buy the water, and you go and buy the pin separately in the hospitals. What a tragedy. But people are buying fancy cars and all those things, and government is just a wastage that sometimes I get emotional, when I talk about it. Brother Ben, we have to, you can talk about that and leave space for the TRRC, because today there is a news that came saying the TRRC, the commission report will not take place as scheduled. That's next Friday. It is postponed for further notice. We don't know why. Do we have any faith in TRRC? It's not going to be a scones in that country anymore. Maybe not Barrow's duration. And because Barrow is satisfying APRC, their demonstration, so-called supporting Yankuba Toure and all those things, move all these things together, and maybe we can round up, so that I can give it. We have about only 15 minutes to go before we have 2 hours exactly. Go ahead, Brother Ben.
You want me to touch on the corruption or?
Because no, the corruption one is so important, and after you can do the TRRC.
Okay,
yes.
I'll have to do a quick context here.
Yes.
You see, during the before the elections, and I'm not going to give names or anything. I just want to give context for Gambians to understand.
Yes.
Because at times people wonder where I get this from. We came in touch with a lot of influential people, and these are people we call the cabal, because we have to understand we were so much in a disparate situation. 2016 elections was crucial, and we were ready to take Janneh out. I'll tell you, either it was elections or after election, Janneh was going to go out. Do you know why? There was a program. It was called the Islamization of Gambia. If we have passed that 2016 elections will never happen in the Gambia again. Gambia would come as an emir. I will share that document to you. You see, that's why Janneh was cultivating relations with Russia. It's a lot of a geopolitics. Janneh had a plan, and we have to stop him. And now, because of the desperation, we had to talk to a lot of different people. We sat in hotels and different places, and these people are movers and shakers. We are not stupid. Mm-hmm. We know what we were going for, but we were never ready to compromise anything. It was a game, high risk game, but at times you have to do that. It was calculated. And some of these people, when we talk to them, we ask them, what do you want in a new Gambia? And we find out most of them, they didn't want worse of Janneh. They want just another Janneh. We had to abandon most of these people. Now, we abandoned technically, and we had to even start to finance some of things we do. I will tell you, we have witnesses to this. We have said where they promised to pay us a monthly salary and give us operational funds for 6 months for us to do, because they know we have the know-how to do what we want to do. Because we put everything on the table for them. But because of we disagree, based on our principles, we are not going to do anything for anybody else. We are doing it for the immediate interest. They walked away. And in a sense, the beginning, they didn't show their hands. We were hungry. We went through, we committed ourselves to a level. Now we cannot abandon. We have responsibility. We got assets and everything, and we have to take that care of. You see, the minute because we said to them, we are going to follow the democratic process first. You see, the minute the democracy went on, and Barrow got to Senegal, these people thought we have influence on Barrow. They came back to us.
No.
They came back to us to the level of offering us, look, you have to abandon London. You have to come to Senegal. This is where it's going to happen. For us to give them access to this thing. We know them. But we are not stupid. I play them. Open up to know what they're looking for, what they're trying to get on Barrow. The same thing they wanted from us, that's what they wanted. I can tell you there's a particular person. That's why if I look at Gambia, I know what I know. But one day will come out of a book. Someone wanted to get rid of someone who have a television, a license. Someone wanted a license, telecoms license. Wanted to make sure someone's telecoms is taken out of the market so that he can come and take that.
Wow.
This kind of, they tell you different things they want. When they were in Dakar, obviously, I refused to get close. I knew we are in trouble. And my integrity would not be at the same. I know what they're capable of, and we started to hear things in Dakar. And through them, because of there was a communication between us, they still thought we were influential in the midst of things, offering us everything. We do this. Come, We never bought. I've never traveled from London to Dakar anywhere since this. And you see, that's where Barrow sold the game. And this is how they identify accounts that even Yaya operated in Senegal. They transferred the account into Barrow's this thing, and the account in Singapore. The corruption started there.
Wow.
Ask yourself, Alaji Cisse started from Dakar, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
And others. Where was Mambure? Mambure was in Dakar. They were all in the corridors. You see? Everything. Adama Barrow, before he left Dakar, he had a plan.
Oh.
I'm pointing Gambians to that interview. That's where the guys asked him in Wolof,
yes.
That you can see Adama, if you are smart enough, you can know that answer was not straightforward. Then I knew that's it, we done. You see, that continue. You cannot have all these people that do trickery. They know the ins and outs of Janneh, how he does things with you. The only thing you need them is to know to get it done. Now, we shouldn't be a surprise to Gambians. And we said, oh no, we can. Why? He was asked categorically clear, are you going to have anybody for? No, he said, I don't need them. How many ministers can he get without having anyone that's ever even served Janneh as a minister? How many of them?
A lot.
Competent.
A lot. Yeah.
But he doesn't want them. Then the business interests and everything. And most of these people that we trying to deal with, they dealt with Janneh before. They fell out with Janneh. They are criminals.
Yes.
You see, that's why I can always hold my hands to this thing. They say that nobody have ever given me a penny. If I am invited, I pay my way. If I am on the table, if you order the coffee, and I pay for my coffee. Because I don't want to be influenced. And this corruption continued. This is what continued. Look at the Janneh Commission. Everything else. Look at Adama Barrow's wealth. Look at the wealth of all these people recently. Recently, Adama Barrow was shown properties of some of the ministers. He was shocked. He thought he got more than them. Adama Barrow opened an investment permanent secretary at the president's office. For what reason? Yes, Yaya Jammeh did it. He didn't need a permanent secretary. And you know that if you need anything in the country, you have to go to Yaya Jammeh. No, Adam Barrow make sure it's structuralized. If you need anything, you have to go to Adam Barrow. How many businesses, did not work in the Gambia because of people don't want to do the wrong thing. They don't want to associate. Everything in that country is owned by someone associated to Adam Barrow. That's why we have the problem. Corruption would never be fought. Who? Look at the allegations against Ahmad Ba. Even Adam Barrow fell out with Ahmad Ba. He dare not touch Ahmad Ba. He dare not touch Ahmad Ba.
Bro, Ben, where is Ahmad Ba? Where is Ahmad Ba now?
That's a good thing. You know, when I came out and said that there's an audio, people thought I was joking. Now people know because of now they themselves are saying it. And you hear the allegations on Ahmad Ba. And he's still a minister. Allegations on every other these people. Look at what the land minister is doing.
Yes.
Look at the environmental damage in these things. Look at everything else. He would not say anything because he was paid. Adam Barrow get kickback from everything. NAWEC. The corruption in NAWEC right now, and that's why they would use the storm or the wind to be the fault. It's not true. I'll give you an example of NAWEC.
Yes,
I think it's about 40% of the fuel expense is on fuel. Now Adam Barrow would determine who gets the fuel contract. The fuel contract, one, the volume they meant to deliver, they don't deliver that volume, but they invoice that volume. That's one thievery. The quality of oil they meant to deliver, they don't deliver the quality, they deliver a substandard quality. Because there's an amount of sulfur that's supposed to be in the thing, because that amount of sulfur determine the machine running time.
Yes.
And what happened is, if you tell the engineer that his oil is of this level, then the engineer thinks that he's got 6 months for maintenance, not knowing that for that oil the maintenance should be 3 months. Now the wear and tear in the machines will go quicker. That's why these are all the problems. But if you want to blame the management of NAWEC only, you have a problem. Adam Barrow takes kickbacks from all these people that do these deals. Now, where are we going to go? No wonder nobody's prosecuted. Look at the fertilizer scandal.
Yes, definitely.
Before scandal, an investigation was done. Recommendation was done by the justice, by the police for justice for prosecution. Did we have prosecution? No.
No.
The person who was alleged, was he suspended? No.
No, he's promoted.
He is back to the agriculture ministry now. Another scandal happened at the same ministry again, fertilizer. You see the irony. Because of what? The wife is the mobilizer for Barrow.
Yes.
You know now, if you want to commit a crime and get away with it, show your allegiance to Barrow. Any form of crime, you get away with it. Show your allegiance to Barrow. Now, not only the fertilizer scandal. Look at the result scandals that happen. With Ahmad Ba with the hotels.
Yes, yes.
That's no investigation. Look at the fishery scandal. The one they had, he was suspended. Do you know he still get paid?
Dr. Baja, yes.
Why can't he be dealt with? There's nothing like investigation. Because if you touch that permanent secretary, he is sharing the loot with the minister is sharing with the president. Have you ever seen Adam Barrow sack anyone in government because of incompetence or corruption? No. In fact, the people he gets rid of are the people who have performed. Go and look at the corruption at the GRA. Yankuba Dabo inherited GRA, he's still at GRA.
Brother Ben, my greetings to Gilbert Justice, Simlex diplomatic passport. But say that again, you say the people that he sacked are the people who were the best performers so far of that government.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Now look at this. Why did he relocate Mohamed Manjang to the foreign service?
Yes.
You know someone of that caliber would not accept to take a position like that.
No.
That was a kind of a way of getting rid of the gentleman. This guy is transforming that institution and everything.
Definitely.
Now, all this, look at the ports now. You hear the allegation from the US.
Yes.
Now the port authority is causing us, is part of what is causing the high inflation in the country. Now, if you freight something from UK, you don't know when it's going to be released in the Gambia. Is that good for business? Uncertainty is good for business.
No way.
On the uncertainty, the cost. Now, if I don't know my final cost of shipment, how can I make profit? How can I determine my pricing?
No,
definitely. These are the things people are going through. But right now, before we start, the president was on this thing. I just look at this thing. He's saying that he's talking about that when UDP was this thing, they didn't have a bank account. That's what he was talking about. And he was the treasurer. And he thinking that is smart. Now because he's still trying to portray that he was wealthy. And we know that's a lie.
No, yes, definitely.
We've seen the evidence. We know where the campaign finance came. This guy still wants to deny us that we supported the finances of the opposition. I mean, for the coalition. I mean, this is the problem we have. Adama Barrow can never fight corruption. Never.
Yes, and he said, the one German visited him and said, Banjul is nice. Banjul is nice, that's a tragedy. But the TRRC, just the report came today that, their report will not take place as scheduled. That is next Friday, and everything is postponed for further notice. Is that a surprise to you, Brother Ben?
Okay, let me tell you something. I'll have to share something of the TRRC. 1 minute.
Yeah, once again to our listeners, greetings and we thank you for your view.
You know what happened with the TRRC?
Go ahead.
Let me candid. First, I thought it was so much optimistic to talk about the report the time they said they're going to deliver. Let's look at this. Even the Faraba Commission, to investigation to deliver report. This is a historic issue. I am not sure what kind of report they're going to deliver. To analyze the testimony, and do the analysis and do everything for the testimony, it should take time. Yes. First, but when they come out, they say that they're going to do it. They insist on they're going to do it fine. But when I read this press statement, and I'll say this, because someone said to me, someone I respected, said to me, give me a leak. I didn't want to, because I respect the chairman. I don't think the chairman, I said to him, look, let's hold this back. I don't think the chairman would fall for anything less. The leak was that they're going to delay. And what the person said, that it's been influenced from State House. That's what he said. I have no evidence. No. That's why I did not share it. And again, for the respect of the chairman, because I don't know the rest I don't say I don't respect them. I respect Adelaide Source. I respect the chairman. And I think they have a lot to lose. Their standings and everything else. And again, the chief, both the how to call it, SFL and Babagale, they have a lot to lose. I don't think they can easily manipulate it. This is my reason not believing any foul play. But when they send the press release, there are things that make me caution. I am still holding back until I have further evidence, but I want something to be kept in mind, which says, let me find it. Okay. The commission, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice and the Office of the President, after consultation, agree on the 12th July 2021 as the date for the submission of the final report to the President. However, the Office of the President informed that due to the previous previously arranged an engagement, the President was not available to receive the commission on the 12th of July and therefore proposed the new date to be 30th July. Now, this is what they said they agreed on the 12th, but which they agreed. But after the president's office came back to them, said, "Oh, sorry, we cannot do on the 12th because of prior engagement." Due respect,
Yeah.
the president's office is a lie. They cannot have any important engagement. The engagement doesn't take 2 hours to receive the report.
Definitely.
And if you have to change the date, you have to change it by day 2 or 3 days, isn't it?
Yes.
Why up to almost a month from the 12th to the 30th, down to the 30th? Fine. This is what they said. They're not this thing. But now, if the commission was ready to do it on the 12th, why did the commission to come out to say that even no, in order to do it properly, we need to do it on the end of September.
Yes.
You see, we have to be critical. With due respect, we have to start to be critical and watch out. Watch out. I am not saying that the president would influence the outcome, like the report. What he can influence is the timing. And the timing is important.
Yeah, it is
because
important.
what people are saying here, that the president doesn't want to be in the corner where he will have to deal with this thing before elections. That's why he wanted to be moved. But I said to people too, it does not matter for me. It does not matter whether it's before the elections or after the elections, because the Barrow does not have any intent. He has already shown that he has no intentions to honor the report. He has no intentions. But again, if it's come on the 30th, Gambians have another issue to raise on holding him accountable before elections. We are not going to forget, because we are going to discuss the report. And by the virtue that he has disregarded a recommendation from the Human Rights Commission to move from the position of the anti-crime to return him there, just so that this disregard he have for due process. And now, if the commission recommendation come out and criticize or adversely mention Golden Book, is that not another issue to hold the president on?
Yes.
And the Inspector General of Police? Now, the Inspector General of Police must be, the journalist should ask him, how did you come about? Because of this relocation, it's within the powers of the Inspector General of Police. But why did he do it? Let him tell us. He wants to tell us he have no commissioner who is competent to run that position. Or was he duly influenced by a political force? You see, these are the issues. To trust Adama Barrow with anything, any Gambian that said to trust Adama Barrow is joking. No Gambian. If you ask any Gambian if they have a company, would they appoint Adama Barrow as the CEO? They will tell you no. Why would you want that person to be a president? And a honest Gambian, I said, who supports Adama Barrow, ask him if he has an unlimited company, would he appoint Adama Barrow as the chairman? He would say no. Then why not conflict? Now, the commission, I still have trust in the people. I have trust in this thing. And if they let that trust out, let them know that people are watching, people will find out. People will find out. Out of respect, I am still holding on. I have no evidence to think otherwise. But that statement is a little bit worrying. It's a little bit worrying. They could have done better than that. They left it to the last minute to come out. They knew 2 weeks ago whether they could deliver on the 12th or not.
Yes, yes.
They knew that, and then why are they picking a further date? Why they are not sticking on the 30th that the president have chosen? All this needed to be explained properly.
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Ben. I think if a leader of a country, majority of the country cannot trust him to run their limited company, then that leader should not be there at the helm of the things. Once again, Muhtar Cham says I was listening to him, and it was really embarrassing. Who cares which party has a bank account or not? Jere Pature says Mohamed Manjang is an example of best performer and productive. My own brother Buba Barrow says, you are right, Ben. The performing good Gambians are those eliminated from the government. And Kambura Masise says, Sadaketa, and so, Brother Ben, I think we have a lot to cover. We will come here when you are free again so that we can discuss these issues. But it's been really educative. The historical background to bridge Jawara time and Barrow's time and Yaya Jammeh time for the benefit of the young people is so crucial, is so important, because sometimes our indifference is because of the lack of knowledge, because of lack of interest to dig into things so that we can connect. Once we connect, we will see ourselves in the middle. And once we see ourselves, we will be interested, But as you said, the good Gambians who are behind the scene, they don't want to talk, they don't want to contribute, and because now the importance of communication is so paramount in nations' development. That's why countries are having the CNN, the BBCs, and they are pumping all this money there. It's not for joke. It's not for just throwing money. So we have to communicate. Our good people need to come out. So we can saddle the narratives of the rotten ones in our society.
Just look at the example in Senegal. In Senegal, you want to have a audience. You can have an audience of different types you want.
Yes.
You call people; they are happy to come. But try and invite a knowledgeable Gambian to come. Oh, I don't do media.
Yeah. Just ask me, Ben. I mean, this on a weekly basis, I will try people, and then Ben, I have to say this to our sisters also. If you see the balance of electorate, Gambian women, the suffering, the women are dying, no women should die at this level. Nearly 660, about 700 per 100,000 women dying. That's official anyway. But this, I know there's a lot going on. But when you want to call our sisters and mothers to come and talk in the media, and their voice is paramount, they are important here. But no, they don't talk, nobody wants to do this.
Most of the time we try to organize programs.
Yes.
The problem we have to have this gender, we struggle.
We struggle
to have the gender balance. But it's important to hear these voices. And look at the majority of we have more women registered to vote than men. Yes. They participate in the most difficult part of things. But to come in here to influence the vote, influence the opinion.
Yes, definitely. We have very intelligent women, Ben, but I will also, plead to the husbands. Just leave these women to contribute to our communities, Don't victimize them because they come out and talk about issues, Because, if we empower our women, we empower our families. When you die, your families are going to be with your women. They're going to take care of them. Now your brothers and other half brothers run away from you when you die. The family is going to be with your women. Let's empower them so that they can come out and talk about and discuss issues that affect them. Because they have to empathize. If you don't empathize this in the situation that women are, and we have myriad of fantastic and brilliant women, they are even better than men, but they don't want to.
It's time for Margaret.
Yeah, but I have to close it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody else. Thank you. Thanks.